What's poppin', everybody? SaberWolf94. So occasionally I hang out at the Pokemon TCG Amino community. It's a pretty neat community. They post things like card of the day and other cool stuff. There's a lot of people that just post cards they pull from packs and all that stuff, but you know, it's all good if they want to do that. But one of the topics that kind of caught my eye a little bit was people discussing whether or not the new metal stuff from Ultra Prism is going to be the top deck. It's going to be the meta, if it's going to be really as good as it's hyped up to be. We've had a few days now with the set available, and I guess people are still wondering. The thing is with that deck, that sort of energy acceleration deck, most people that have experience with those decks and you know the expert players are going to tell you that basically half the battle is getting your guy out, getting your energy acceleration stage 2 Pokemon out. That's the thing. When you do get that guy out, if you can get one-hit knockouts, you should win. You have a lot of other problems with, you know, your abilities being shut off by Garbodor or other, you know, fancy tricks your opponent can use to kind of make you lose to yourself, basically. But if you can effectively get one-hit knockouts and your opponent really can just, you know, attack to retaliate and try to get prizes on you and not really do any fancy shit to hinder you, you know, you should be able to win because you're getting one-hit knockouts. Unless they're getting one-hit knockouts as well, you know, they're not going to keep up with you. We've had Magnezone from Breakthrough and Raikou, and they didn't really do anything. I've used the deck a lot, of course, but it didn't really do much because when you use this kind of strategy, you really want to get one-hit knockouts is the only way. And this is the difference between that strategy and with the new metal stuff. With the new metal stuff, we have Duskmane Necrozma, which is basically a basic Solgaleo GX, slightly weaker, but still pretty good. And it's going to get the job done. With its 4 energy attack that discards 3 energy, doing 220 damage if I'm not mistaken, that attack is going to knock out basically any GX Pokemon that's relevant, any stage GX Pokemon, any basic GX Pokemon. And all you gotta do is put something like a choice band on, and you're knocking out even the stage 2 big guys with 250 HP. So that's one of the benefits that kind of make this deck, you know, more real. It's more of a threat. Little things like the magnezone from Ultra Prism is also a better stage 2 Pokemon, has more HP and a better attack if it needs to attack. And you also have good backup, you know, attackers in the form of Heatran and what have you. And possibly one of the biggest things is even though we don't have superior energy retrieval, having the fucking Mount Coronet, which is a stadium that basically gets you, is an energy retrieval per turn, is a big thing. Things like Raybor and Blasters only wish they had that kind of stuff back then. It really is the best thing you can ask for. It really helps with you not losing, running out of energies. I mean, of course, it can get rid of the stadium too, but even if it lasts like longer, even if it lasts like at least 2 turns, it basically is like a free fisherman. So it's a great help, being a stadium and all. You're being able to use it a bunch of times. It's not always going to be removed so easily. So it's a great help. And the crazy thing about the deck is that it actually even has more options in Expanded. You can actually turn it into a Ray Eels kind of a deck using the Bronzongs from Phantom Forces, and you use Duskmane Necrozma. It basically becomes like a Ray Eels type of a deck with metal Pokemon basically. The only difference is that Duskmane Necrozma has more HP than the Rayquaza, quicker attack than just straight damage if you want to use that if you have to, and even the GX attack. And it just in general is just easier to use and does more damage easier. And if you don't want to use, you know, that kind of strategy, you can just use Metagross too. I mean, Metagross GX with the Solgaleo GX has proven to be a solid strategy. So, you know, getting 2 big ass stage 2 GX Pokemon out like that, it's slow, but then eventually it pays off. So, you know, if you don't even want to use that kind of strategy with Magnezone, you can just use Duskmane Necrozma with Metagross. So the deck has a lot of options. It definitely fucks up Gardevoir. I feel like Gardevoir GX is going to need to tech in some Fire Attacker or something like that. They need to find a good Fire Attacker maybe. Since the deck has energy acceleration with Gardevoirs, you know, you slap a bunch of tech fire basic energies on, maybe like 1 or 2, and with Gardevoir, you attach a bunch of energies and, you know, the fire tech can attack. But I mean, besides that, it's just it has an auto win almost against Gardevoir GX. It's gonna knock out fucking Golisopod in one hit. Golisopod is pretty good, but it really needs to do some fancy shit if it's gonna win. Getting 120 when you don't get a knockout, and then the Duskmane Necrozma is gonna get a one-hit knockout on you. The Akerola has become useless, and it's proven time and time again. One-hit knockouts is basically almost the best strategy. If you can get one-hit knockouts consistently, is the way to go. It makes strategies like Max Potion and Akerola useless, and it's just super strong, man. Maybe because of this deck, perhaps Garbodor is going to see more play. Maybe people are going to start using Garbodor with the Garbotoxin. But I mean, that dude isn't going to stay forever as well. It's basically its last year, unless they fucking reprint him again. And who knows, maybe even fucking Glaceon GX. That Pokemon has a lot of potential. It's really good. It's also an attacker. But when you think about that Pokemon too, is that I'm pretty sure the weakness is metal as well. So it's going to have the disadvantage to the metal Pokemon too. So metal decks have a lot going for them. One of the ways, I guess, to fuck up the deck is fast decks, maybe like Buzzhole GX and fucking Lycanroc. I feel that deck has a lot of potential now. It's going to be pretty good because if you disrupt, you do quick damage with Buzzhole and you disrupt, you grab the fucking Magnezones and kill them uh, due to the ability of Lycanroc. If they lose Magnezone and you can't bring out other ones quicker, they can't really attack. They can only do like fucking 80 damage at best. So that's one of the things that maybe you can do if the deck becomes a problem. It really is, we don't know yet. Tournaments are going to have to, I'm going to have to check like tournament reports when tournaments happen and shit like that. But it's definitely a more real deck than Magnezone Raikou because it can get one-hit knockouts. You're relying on a GX Pokemon and on a bigger dude. It's just easier to use, man. It's just a stronger strategy. You have the Mount Coronet grabbing your energies for free. It's a much different animal than fucking the Raikou and the Magnezone strategy. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Man, fucking Salazzle GX actually. Salazzle GX is actually a very good Pokemon. Like, I feel like that Pokemon should have been seeing more play. I mean, it can do solid damage quickly, and late game it basically has a broken attack that does crazy fucking ass free damage, like 150 and 200 damage for free basically. So, maybe that card is gonna start seeing play too, because you can just slap a choice band on, and it's gonna knock out these fucking metal Pokemon very easily. So the metal deck isn't like perfect. It has like counters and shit stuff that can be used against it. I mean, even maybe like an Incineroar GX with the right deck list can fuck that deck up. I guess the best one, the Volcanion decks, maybe they'll shoot up in popularity too, but that deck isn't going to stay forever as well. The Volcanions are going to be rotated out next year too. So who knows, maybe until then, Volcanion can do a little bit more stuff. But the thing is, even if they get one-hit knockouts on you, you can still get one-hit knockouts on those Fire GX Pokemon, like fucking anyway. The only one that can survive is Incineroar, and with a choice band, that guy dies too. So, this kind of a deck has a lot of potential, like I've said. It's just really the fight is to get out your stage guy, your Magnezone out quickly, get the energies to start attacking quickly. You need to get your pieces quickly. That has always been the issue with these kinds of decks, and there's plenty of ways your opponent can fuck you up if they wish to. The decks always have kind of always problems with space. You have a lot of shit you gotta pull. I mean, even with the Mount Coronets, they help with energies. You're still gonna have to include them. It's still a card you're gonna include. So you're gonna run more of that stadium, maybe. I don't feel maybe 4 of those is right. It might be too much, but I don't know. Maybe 3 is a good number. Yeah, I haven't built the deck myself. I haven't really gotten Ultra Prism packs yet and boxes so I can use codes and shit. I'm gonna have to, but it's definitely one of the decks that, I would use for sure. These energy acceleration decks, I like them a lot. Magnezone is a Pokemon I like. Of course, I'm not the biggest. Duskmane Necrozma isn't like on the same league as Rayquaza for me, but it is a very good Pokemon competitively, whether I like him as much as Rayquaza or not. So yeah, maybe the deck is gonna be the new meta, but I really feel like it's one of the decks that Rayquaza, Raybor, Blastoise, at least the conventional Blastoise where you evolve into Blastoise, not the Archie version. These decks were pretty good in their time, but they were never really the best deck because a good list, a good like consistent ass list, as Jason Klasinski would say, I'm pretty sure, with Garbodor and what have you, can really fuck those kinds of decks up, big time. They have a lot of weaknesses, significant weaknesses that you can exploit if you're a good player. So that's that basically. We'll have to wait and see. The deck has a lot of potential, like I've said for the millionth time, but it's not without its weaknesses. So anyways, guys, Saberwolf94, I hope you enjoyed this little rant. Hopefully I managed to get games against it since I can't use the deck. The best way to show its capabilities is to play against it at least in my games. So, hopefully that happens. And of course I'll put them up, show you guys what's up. So Saberwolf94, and what's up?